Well, hello, hello, hello. You got us back. It's your girl, Brandy Janae, and Miss Angela from Word of Word. We are
Yes, hello.
to do our Belle Collective. We are going to get all of the episodes. We're just going to get a catch up, okay?
Yes, we're gonna round it all up and put it together in a nice fancy bow and tie
Right.
it on up.
And I figure we could just go through the cast, right?
Yeah, that's the best way.
Cast.
Yes, I would.
Now,
Yeah.
what we have seen through episodes 1 through 5, what we're
Mhm.
feeling like, how we thinking the season is starting off, and of course, we'll save Latrice and Laticia for kind of the end because that's kind of the Laticia thing is what's moving the season thus far.
Yes. Hmm.
So far, what are you thinking about the season?
You know what? I think it's better than Potomac. It's way better than Potomac. I said, I sat, girl, and was watching it, girl. Almost shed a tear, and I'm like, I really feel like it held my attention. I'll tell you this: when I was watching it, I went straight scrolling my phone. So yeah, it was. I said, okay, these girls, they working.
Yeah, they clocking in. They are
Mhm.
clocking in, I think the same, I think I've always liked Belle Collective. Yeah, they coming in and they getting it started. Now I'm gonna tell y'all how I feel about Latrice when we get down to Miss Latrice. Because I got a few things for her. Okay, a few
Because
opinions.
my thing is, I got to go back and watch the previous episodes because I never ever really just sat down and watched Belle Collective like that.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when we did last, whatever, the beginning of
Yes,
the season, and up to now, this is the first time I ever watched it. So, because I was shocked that, how some of them had lived. I was like,
mm-hmm.
oh. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say it's a good watch, and I'm going to go back so I can be a little bit more familiar of the dynamics between Latrice and Laticia.
Yeah.
So I can understand that a little better because I'm like, okay, what kind of girlfriends were they, and why
And
was
even Marie, because in this
yeah,
last episode we see the conversation happen, in which Leticia's friend Chantel, or I don't remember her name, kind of wanted called Marie out. And speaking of Marie, we just gonna start off with her because she just sliding on in through the season. Probably listen. We all been
oh
there.
man,
I told y'all that man wasn't shit when he came around last season. And so I don't know who was shocked that he's not here this season, but it was not me. I would have been shocked had he been back for another season and they was still in some good place or something. Because yeah, he's a scumbag and has been since she brought him on the first season. So with that being said, he is no longer they are no longer together. And we watched Marie have a conversation with her daughter about it.
yeah. Could
I
you
did.
back up 1 second though? Could you
Mhm.
kind of fill me in? What is it really that I know that Marie has her own business, but do you know exactly what type of business it is? Because I kind of missed that.
It's a mental health and methadone clinic.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't like I don't know if it is so much of like a therapist's office. Like it's not necessarily presented that way, more so than a mental health facility,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Okay. And then a methadone clinic. I don't know if all of her locations are dual that way, or if it's one. Like each location is separate. But I know that is what makes up this Marie Monroe's empire. Okay, how
Okay.
she became what she say self-made millionaire. Okay,
Go ahead, girl.
so back to we saw they had a conversation. She talked with her daughter. And she was really kind of candid about, hey, like your dad is back seeing the girl, which she also expressed that he just showed up at her track meet or practice.
Mhm.
And so she seemed like she was a little taken aback by that. And that just kind of gave Marie that I guess door opening to feel her daughter in on what's happening. And so she let her know, like, hey, when we got back together, he made it clear that he was done and we was working on us, but he is still messing with this other lady. And I just don't want to deal with that. What I want to ask you about that though, what did you think about Marie having that conversation with her daughter?
At first, I thought, because, but
Do we got some comments coming?
I think the kids, kids are smart and they know kind of what's going on. They hear you arguing, so they can fill in the blanks. At first, I thought, oh, would I do that? And then I said, probably I would. Just to give them, I wouldn't give them the low down, dirty details, but I thought she did a good job of basically filling her daughter in on what's going on, because kids are not, they're not stupid. They can see, because I'm pretty sure if he's dealing with that woman, sooner or later she'll see that lady either calling her dad or coming around to the house. So yeah, I thought she did a good job of explaining it to her daughter.
I think I agree with you with that. At first, I kind of thought, was it a little bit much? Was the information too much? But then again, it's like, when I think about sometimes the way I handle my children in my situation, I kind of think I wish I would have been a little more forthcoming about things. But I think every parent knows their child, right? And so maybe also with her being a young lady, I think maybe that is another important part, because when I think about it, what I experienced in that relationship, it was a lot of lack of like no other feminine uh advice, I guess, in a sense. I don't know if advice is the right thing, but more so just, having a feminine circle where you guys discuss that with, like where you understand, not that you need to have a group of people going through the same thing, but sometimes you do need to understand like that you're not crazy, and you know what I mean, like, and this is not okay, like you need a circle that's kind of able to help perpetuate that. So with that being her daughter, maybe it is a good way, and it just happens to be her dad, but just to give her that example of like, hey, don't you take it either, you know what I mean?
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Laticia didn't learn that from her mama, though, did she?
Well, I think Laticia is working with a different lesson, and I can't wait for us to kind of break that down, because I mean, when we think about it, this is what we're dealing with, as far as women and what they take and what they don't, or boundaries versus non-boundaries, and also what it all looks like, like in different relationships and everything. Because sometimes, maybe like Cedric would be okay if he wasn't slinging his D all over the place, right? Like maybe he don't have to have the same amount of money as Marie, you know what I mean? Like maybe there are these other things that doesn't matter, but the main thing is that he's not faithful, which happens to be the issue with a lot of men when it comes down to it. You know what I mean?
And he might, we're assuming he don't have the same money as Marie. He might do.
Right. I'm assuming, right? Yeah. Exactly. I don't know that to be true. And so, it's just like I said, I kind of thought about not being so hard about what she was sharing with her daughter. Like, yeah, somebody needs to. I grew up at an age, and I know my mom grew up where it was even more so they didn't talk about anything, but nobody really talked about a lot of things with us either, as far as dynamics and relationships goes. And so it has to start somewhere. So we can get these people prepared and start trying to get some healthy relationships going. All right. With that being said, as far as how Marie is acclimated and with the rest of the collective, honey, Maria's just playing her part.
Yeah.
And doing what she needs to be doing, I guess. But it feels like she's kind of in the middle of Latrice and Laticia. And of course, she is on. I keep going to call this lady. Oh, her name is Kerri. I keep getting her confused with Mimi. Her remind each other, remind me of each other. But Kerri. So she, Maria's calling her out about Kerri not minding her business because we Kerri throughout these 1 to 5 episodes, honey, putting her hands in the pot, being a little busy bee. And somebody must have got in her ear like, girl, you better, come on, bring it. So what with Marie and her place in between Laticia and Latrice, because we know I think this might have been episode 3, or the continuation. They've been partying their tails off too, honey. Chantel, what is her name? Because I can't never remember that lady name either. Selena, girl. I can never remember her name either. She had a party. Kerri threw her birthday party. I think they had. Laticia did a brunch, right? A Friendsgiving type brunch.
Yes, but where Latrice sent that plastic flower over. Yeah.
Right, she sent the fake flowers, honey. But what do you think about like the position Marie is in when it comes to the
between those? Yeah, I think just like she said, I'm doing what Laticia did when it was me and Latrice. And she said, I'm for what is right. That's what she said. So I guess she feels like I don't really should have to pick a side. And I guess she wants to find out, exactly what's what. About the text message or whatever. But it just seemed, I said, well, what else are we missing? Because them bitches was getting really bitch. I mean, them bitch words was coming out strong. I said, damn. She meant
Latrice though, but what I have to say about Latrice, number one, what I realize is you're too young for this cast. That's it. You're too young to be here. And the reason why is because you don't know how to conduct yourself, really. And even when I say don't know how to conduct
young, she's immature.
That's it. You're immature, and even when in the midst of what we're talking about, you're immature. You know what I mean? Like, you're immature. And so I agree with you. I think Marie is handling it as neutral as she can. I agree with what she said to Latrice, or Laticia. I'm kind of just taking the same spot you did. And I have watched Belle Collector from the beginning. I would have to agree with her. I think when it comes to an ensemble cast, sometimes that's just kind of how I fall, because y'all really are having an argument that's a little bit crazy. And I will take Marie's side also to not insert myself in, because I don't know what I'm inserting myself into, because you know what I mean? Like, this is crazy, So I say give Marie a break. I don't think she is bailing out on her friendship with Laticia. And I don't think she's picking anybody's side.
Yeah.
I think you're right. She just is trying to get to what's what. But speaking of, honey, I got her name wrote down as Chantel. What's her name again? Selena. Okay, Selena. I know if she ever known that I can't remember her name, she'd be like, oh, why you can't remember my name? Well, Selena has her birthday party. She's coming out looking like Jessica Rabbit, honey. Go girl with that bobbing. We found out that her and Mike have set a date for April of 2026. So actually, what did she say? April 4th, I think?
Girl, I don't know.
I'm going to say that's actually in a couple of weeks. Which,
yeah.
I think y'all drop down in the comments and let me know. I don't know why I feel like, is she doing this so it could be on the show? And I guess, listen, if you're a part of a reality show, I can understand you not minding your wedding being, like broadcasted and somewhere, cemented, forever. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it be looking a little thirsty, like because we talked about the this stuff feeling rushed.
You think so?
Stuff.
You think so? Was she talking about getting married last season?
She was talking about it, but they hadn't set a date.
Oh, well, wasn't they already engaged, right?
Yeah, I feel like they've been engaged for quite some time.
Well, it ain't rush. Shit, she 50 and she had already had a stroke. Shit. What the fuck? Oh my goodness. Now that was a shocker to me to find out she had all those health problems. I was like,
yeah, that too.
I mean, that's a lot to take on for a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some sickly lady.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was, I really, had empathized for her, but I'm like, if maybe her and him been dealing for a long time, but that's a lot to take on if somebody's having seizures and had a stroke. I wonder if she's on epileptic, medicine or something for epilepsy. But then you gotta know how to give her something to drink, and I don't know.
Yeah, it is a lot.
I'm like, she got a lot of kids and grandkids, and maybe, the stress of probably not knowing who eliminated her son too is probably what brought on some of maybe the stroke or whatever. I don't know when she had it, but yeah, I did notice when they were on that trip, she was the only one with her seatbelt on. I saw because she'd been in that accident. I said the rest of them didn't have them on, but yeah, Selena, I'm getting to know her story. Like I said, this is the first time I've really watched the show, and I just kind of was like, damn, I didn't, because I guess all the look good go be good.
No, Selena, to be honest. So going back to Latrice and her history, so it is a good idea for you to go back to Belle Collective because, like you say, you'll get a chance to see how they all even just came in the mix. So Selena was invited to an event Latrice was hosting, but she was invited to get up under So Gucci's skin. So Gucci is now married to JJ, which is her ex-husband, Selena's husband. And the father of the kids, the girls, whatever. So that's how Selena got introduced to us, right? Because Latrice basically invited her to this party to get up under So Gucci's skin. They end up kind of fighting in this party. Yeah. And so that's part of why So Gucci is not here, because the last season before last, I mean, ever since then, it was just, that's what the storyline with Selena being on the show really was about, was like, So Gucci jealous of me, or like that's what they was going back and forth, about.
Because I've seen bits and pieces of that season, but never really watched it. Okay.
And of course, because they had to fight, then it trickled over to the kids and stuff. So the kids wasn't speaking to their dad, and it was all of that stuff. So Gucci decided, like, her and Selena did they make up on the camera, and hopefully it was so, but that's why So Gucci was like, we'll just not come back, because we made an amends, everybody is getting along, we'd rather keep it that way, and so I think the deal is, what we end up finding out was that Selena was supposed to be originally a part of maybe like the first season, but her son was unalived, and so she backed out. Apparently, she must have already maybe said something to JJ, but somehow this is how So Gucci gets in the mix. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so, right, Selena was taking the stance with Gucci, like as if she owed her something, because she felt like I'm the reason you're on the show. So that is the part of Miss Selena that I have been introduced, and I didn't necessarily like it because you the ex-wife, and so I'm not understanding what your beef is. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like they was trying to say he cheated on her or anything. With at least that wasn't what they disclosed on the television. Like maybe that's where some angst or something was from, but I didn't understand what the real problem was.
Yeah.
Outside of you wanting her to kiss your ring, and so Gucci like no. So like I said, she ended up leaving, and so now Selena, and like they do on television, they come and try to reintroduce her to us, like, and now get all of this stuff. Because again, you would have never known that girl had seizures the way you was running around ready to cuss out and fight and do all like you have seizures, like, and stroke.
Yeah, that's brought on by stress. I'm like, girl, should you be on this show?
Right. What I thought to myself, and I hated it sometimes because I am a very empathetic person. Maybe I feel this way because I don't know these people. And so it's easier to have like a different opinion. But when she started to go through all of that, it reminds me of how I look at Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton has this woe is me type of like persona on the Braxton family values and things. Like every time she's talking and we get the chance to, catch up with her, it's my health, and I gotta really stay out the sun, and like it's always this. Like I got 15 shows in Las Vegas, but I really gotta make sure I can do them because my heart, like it's like, but girl,
why? Retire already, girl. You married to a bird, man.
And for me, y'all, this is the type of person I am. Like you gotta make it make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like so, I mean. I don't know if Toni, I don't know if she needs the money or not. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just kind of like, don't go out and put all of this shit on your plate and then come complain to me about all, like all of the things it will cause. Because, like, if you know this, then why did you do this? Like, and why do I have to, be the sympathetic one? I just don't like that. I feel like those are like manipulation tactics, and they just rub me the wrong way, So that's what I thought about Selena. But again, I was introduced to her in a whole nother way. If this was the first time that I saw her, and like these last 2 seasons was the only time that I saw her, I would feel the same way. But because I got introduced to you different, I'm just like, girl, bye. Like I don't know who this is.
You said, girl, bye.
I don't know who this lady is, but power to you. Okay, you the sweet, cutesy, demure lady. I guess, all right. Now that So Gucci ain't around.
Oh, okay. So she
now you can keep your composure, I guess. You back in your rightful place, I guess. Or maybe you just had to win something. Because, like I said, it was given. Like, it's funny that she kept trying to say that lady was jealous of her, but it was given. You was a little bitter.
Jealous how?
I don't know. That's the reason why I'm saying it was given. You are the bitter one, because what would the new wife have to be jealous of with the old wife?
Because it's the only thing I could possibly, if the ex-wife was living better, but the ex-wife wasn't living better than them, just from what I can see.
That's what I'm saying. That I couldn't tell that either. That's my point too. That's my point too. And not for nothing. I mean, well, listen, Mike got to catch a stray, but I'm finna say he looked like a young, like out in the street type kind of guy. You know what I mean?
His hair was killing me. No, not him. The fat light skinned guy. Who was him? What was his name? The ex-husband.
Donald. Was that man's name? That's
with the gap in his mouth. So Gucci husband. What's his name?
Oh, JJ.
He looked a mess. A
That's
mess.
that country stuff, girl. That is that
Girl,
country.
no. Everybody country don't look like that. Girl, that is some dang on bad.
No, I know everybody don't, but most
I
of
ain't
the
never
time,
seen it.
the people who do, that's where they from.
Girl.
And that's where they get it from. God darn it. God darn it.
Yeah, he a mess. I said, and then one time he had the little knockers on the, I said, what in the fuck is he? But that one daughter looked just like him. I said, she looked just like her daddy. I said, oh.
She sure do. So Miss Selena is gonna try her best at trying to mend Latrice and Laticia's fight, right? What is it that she just suggested that they did? I think she was just trying to talk Latrice into going to
the therapy.
Right, Friendsgiving. And so Latrice didn't go because that was right after they had the fight or the argument at Selena's birthday party.
So that's why she sent the flowers.
Yeah, sent the fake flowers, right. And so again, immature, you know what I mean? Like, because immature, you know, she was immature with her husband talking about Latrice in their confessional, because he say, why don't you try being the bigger person or something? And so she says, I'm always the better person. And she says, I'm always the better person. And I said to myself, like, see, like that, like, no, you're not. Like, you know, because I don't know why people don't understand that, why you don't think somebody couldn't figure out what it is you are saying in that, you know what I mean? And you're not even in the same context with her. You're still trying to throw a dig at Laticia using the word better. You know, like you are a clown. Like,
no, she was a clown in that damn kitchen with everything expired. I said, God, I ain't never heard of expired butter. I said, maybe we go through, and I don't cook, but I go through butter quick. I'm like,
I ain't never heard of no expired butter either. And to your point, I don't think my butter lasts in there that long for it to be expired.
I'm like, expired
and I got a big tub.
I said, then on top of that, because she's talking about how good she can cook, and then you use the instant mashed potatoes that is expired.
Well, I do use mini rice. I told y'all that already. I don't eat mashed potatoes, but if I did, it would be instant mashed potatoes.
Well, if I'm going to get on TV and say how well I can cook, you best believe it, bitch. Either the dinner is already going to be prepared, or I'm not going to show you I'm using.
You know what? Let's just talk about this real quick. They got a little trend talking about the young hoes. Here's the deal. She's a young hoe, okay? And it's a lot of young hoes out here that feel like they can cook. Now, I'm going to give them credit with what they cook. You got a lot of young hoes that today they cook in different things that you couldn't get anybody to really cook, right? Yeah. And that's not just soul food. We're going to talk about the chicken Alfredo, you know what I mean? Like some of the shrimp, just crab oils and different things. So they, now on the flip side, they are also not preparing it in the same traditional way that we are used to. So there are a lot of shortcuts. Now, particularly, I take issue with the greens and the way that they shortcut greens. Okay.
What they doing?
Well, instead of picking them, they're rolling them up and then just cutting them. I don't prefer stems. So if you ever have my greens, you're going to have the least stems you've ever had in your life. Okay, because we're gonna eat leaves. Okay.
Oh, they don't tear the stem out.
No, they take the leaf, roll it, and cut it. Just cut it. Now, what they will do, you know how the stem might extend past the leaf. They'll stop at the end of the stem, but that's not picking the green. The point in picking the greens is to take the stem off the leaf, right? Like to not have a stem. And then sometimes the meat, They pressure cook the meat. They cook the meat fast. Like a lot of stuff people don't realize that is what makes stuff taste good. Like gumbo. So that's another recipe or something that a lot of young hoes will make, but not realizing that like something that has a roux. That's why greens, like those types of things, the longer you cook, the better that it takes. So
Yeah.
it doesn't do you well to be able to cook a pot of greens in 3 hours. Those are not good greens. I don't give a fuck what kind of season you put in it. Them leaves hard, like unless they turnips. Like, but if they collard greens, like right, you can't cook collard greens in 3 hours. It's impossible. Not good, not to me. Otherwise, you could have just opened the can of greens. So the same thing, like they do a little bit extra when they're making Alfredo, like going to get heavy creams and all, all of the extras. But like I said, a lot of stuff they take shortcuts. I'm not opposed to shortcuts. I take them too, but I'm not running around talking about, hey, I cook, you know what I'm saying? Like I cook, but like okay,
I can cook. Let me get that hamburger helper out and make some beef stroganoff.
Right. See, yeah.
Add a little season to it. Yes, girl. No, I ain't professing to do none of that. I ain't making no Alfredo either. Ain't buying no heavy cream. Not doing none of that shit. So,
like I do some things, and I like as a matter of fact, I've been thinking about some gumbo. I saw Mama Tina was at the rodeo with her little gumbo, and a few people was talking about how to, doing their taste testing, and was talking about the flavors and stuff. So I thought about it. I was like, oh, I haven't made no gumbo in a few years. I think it's been a good 5 years or something since I made some. So I thought maybe I might make us invite the boys over for some gumbo. Oh. All right. Well, let's move on down to Kerri. Well, did you tell me what you think about Selena's mix? Because that's really all for her.
Oh, I already spoke on Selena. We can go.
Okay, let's move on to Miss Kerri. Miss Kerri, baby. Girl, first of all, let me just tell you.
She ain't speaking no Spanish.
She ain't speak. She needs to get some wigs.
Girl.
I don't know, where is she shopping at that she keep walking out with the wigs like they look like she going to Party City? And what hairstylist is she going to?
Girl, she said we went from European to Africa. I said yes, because that stuff is starting to sweat real. I think first of all, she's natural. So and that's
let me speak as a natural. Natural or not, because you're right. Hair swells up, but that's what I'm saying. What hairdresser is she going to? See, like we're living in a time in which you could get a what they call them things,
a silk press, but girl, not when it's humid like that.
No, what I'm going to say about what her hair looks like is no way it should look like that. Or because you're right, because maybe it just don't last. Like the reason why I'm saying that is I had a beautician that silk pressed my hair so good, it took long for it to revert. Well, even if I'm sweating, like you know what I mean, like it's still now it might poof, like you could tell, but you couldn't tell. You know what I mean, like. And like with her, she come out and it looks like ain't nobody did a damn thing. Now again, that could just be her texture of hair, like not mixing with where she lived, all of the things. So the next thing is, because again, we are in 2026. So really, you don't even have to suffer through that. Get you a good protective hairstyle. She can get crochets. Like that's not gonna be heavy on her head, on her hair, and still give it a look. But what she coming up with, girl,
she think is it.
It's from like 1986.
That's what she's trying to be, Whitley Gilbert. So shit.
Clearly. That's funny because that's right. You called it right. So she's definitely trying to be a Whitley because, what decade do you live
in? I said, because when her husband said, "I like your hair," I said, "Huh?" It looked the same to me. I couldn't tell nothing was done. I could see as it was swelling up. So as a girly who had to go through gym, I couldn't get a. My mom always. I could not get a perm until I got 16. So it used to be, oh God, I used to hate it. Walk around with this big old pooped up mess. You know, you start out the day one way, and then once you hit gym, and back when I was in school, you had to take showers when you got out of gym. So it was just over with. So I'm just looking at her hair like, did you go to like, went and worked out somewhere? What's going on with your hair? And then when he said, because I meant to rewind and go back because she said she changed her hairstyle. And I'm like, what did she wear to the party, Selena's party? Because I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I just always feel it's like that bushy kind of mess.
It's always bad. Whatever she's doing with her hair, like when she put a wig on, it's always a bad wig. Like, and that's when I'm like, where are you even shopping at? Why won't you ask one of the girls? I'll never understand newbies coming onto a show needing some type of styling advice and not finding somebody on your cast like to go and ask about who to go to. Girl, you work with somebody who sell bundles. Like you walking around with your hair like
that. That's how I felt about Shamari on Atlanta Housewives. I did. I said, oh my God. She was worse than her. I just was looking at Shamari like, what the fuck? You're married to Belle DeVoe guy, Roddy DeVoe. Why does your hair look like this? Why do your clothes look like? She looked a mess. And she knew she looked a mess. To hear Marlo try to fix her up, but then try to make her dress like her, which was not her style. But she looked a mess to me the whole time. I just couldn't get with it. And then when she did wear like her own hair, I said, oh, her own natural hair is pretty. Why would you wear those crunchy looking weaves? It just looked a mess. I couldn't take it. That's the whole reason why I said she did not need to be on the show. She looked a mess to me.
Well, that's for sure how Kerri coming. Kerri is looking like, honey, the wind blew her whatever way she, whatever scene she come in, the wind blew her there, okay?
Girl, that hurricane she's talking about.
So we get to see her talking with her parents about her restaurant. One in Mobile is not doing well. Seems like she needs to close it down. She seemed like she is hemming and hawing about not closing it down. Her parents talked to her mom, kind of talked to her about she didn't raise a weak woman because she was talking about how she just feel like she just want to sit in her feeling about this business. And her mom is like, yeah, you might need to cut your losses and just take the loss of money. What else did we see? We see her. One thing I didn't like, what I don't care for when it comes to Kerri is she always starts off all the conversations talking about the other ladies. Like she, even with her parents, and I guess fine, maybe you just kind of telling them about this new group that you're in and the women, but it just feels like it's just a little bit of a way to not give your own stuff, but because her and her husband do a lot of talking about the other group ladies also, or what's going on in the group. But we did see her husband have a basketball game with Glendale.
Yes.
Him and Glendale got to talk, have a man-on-man talk. I thought that was I like that. I like seeing stuff like that because I always wonder if it exists. And I'm segue real quick into Love is Blind. I don't know if you watched it and if anybody else did, but it was a guy on there. Oh my God, he was such an a-hole. He was such an a-hole. Oh God. And then I'm trying to figure out why am I saying this about Glendale. Because
that's an a-hole.
Yeah, but it's really more about the two men talking and just kind of having like a vulnerability with each other about what was being discussed, and Glenn being able to express it. Like I think sometimes men get so caught up in having to have this whatever it's called, ego, I guess, that they can't be softened up, like to be able to even receive love from a good woman. But anyway, I like the basketball game. I like the conversation that they had. And I like the man, I don't remember Kerri's husband's name, but
Matt.
Matt, okay. I like that he, just kind of told Glenn, hey, you're not alone. You got somebody you can, talk to. And again, him being married and kind of having, I guess, a like-minded lifestyle and goal, as opposed
Yes.
to talking to your buddies who rip and run the streets, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that is not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? Well,
Mhm.
what do you think?
Well, Matt and Kerri are playing the role of the peacemakers. So they're trying to come into the group to bring the group back together. Glendale has another issue because he got an issue going on with his wife too. But I thought, yes, Matt did a good job of trying to, smooth things over. It's the same as what I feel like Kerri was trying to do, and I thought actually her therapy. I thought it was a good scene
Mm-hmm.
because it ended up leading to Laticia and
Mm-hmm.
Latrice coming together by themselves. Um, I will say that Kerri to me is she gives us a little bit of comic relief. Um, when she was speaking that Spanish, she got half a degree in Spanish. I said, what? And she said, Kanishiwa. I said, for good
That's
afternoon.
right. That's my
I said,
favorite.
that's born in Star Days. What are you talking about?
Mhm.
Kanishiwa. But she is giving Whitley Gilbert. That's her persona. That's who she wants. That's the type of air she brings. So Whitley Gilbert, do you remember she was kind of stuck up,
Mhm.
stick in the mud, and that's what she's bringing. But um, I enjoyed what she brought, and I like that she had them, for the ladies to come down for the therapy, and they was not feeling it. Like what? We don't need a
And they
counselor.
were not feeling it, right?
So, and then that's what made me wonder. Now, does Marie do counseling, or I was trying to figure out exactly what
Mhm.
her and Miss her business partner what they really did. So I'm like, is she
Mhm.
does counseling too, or something? But I thought it was what Kerri's given so far. She's trying to be the peacemaker and got her husband being the same way. So I think they're fitting in.
And yeah, you're right. They was kind of ragging on her about the Kerri-Therepy or therapy,
Mm-hmm.
which I agree with you. She's giving Whitley Gilbert, like, you can't, remember when Dr. Jackie did the lemon squeeze. It's kind of like this little Jack and Jill, type
Yeah.
of feeling,
Mm-hmm.
So and peacemaker, and I guess somebody needs to be every now and then. So okay, get down, get down. um, and but I agree with you that seemed like that Kerri-Therapy or therapy was a good idea because it did lead to those ladies talking one on one, which
Yeah.
they should have in the first place anyway. Because right, getting everybody all in it, it's kind of how you ended up here, in the first
Yes. But
place.
you got the cast and the friends of and the friends of the
Mhm.
friends of or whoever. Then you got because okay, when we go back to the argument, so did Glenn actually say something to Latrice?
So I don't remember. So okay, let's just get on to into it with this. Because Tambra ain't got a damn thing going on.
Her daddy had a stroke.
Right.
Her daddy had a stroke. That's what happened.
Okay. Right. Tambra ain't got a damn thing going on. Um, I don't remember him saying anything directly to Latrice, but this is what my point going back to her being immature. I find it funny that this whole conversation is Latrice feeling like she's been wronged in some way. And not for nothing, this all started out because you invited your friend to your house to confront this lady. And whether and this is my deal with Treese whether you felt like you did that on purpose or not, it happened at your event. It happened at your home. It happened with your friend. You know what I mean? Like it.
And they talked about it a couple times. They talked about it at the beauty shop.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like she's just doing one of those master narcissistic tactics, which is like
gaslighting the hell out of Tisha.
Gaslighting and turning something around. So now you get on Cliff and you tell Cliff that he can't talk to Glenn. So what I think also, I feel like somebody has something to say because Cliff, I think felt offended from the reunion, and that's probably where it's from because I can't remember everything that did go down on the reunion, but whatever she's talking about, she's got to be referencing the reunion. Nothing did happen during that season, and no, Glenn did not she
was saying that at the Selena's birthday party when they all went outside, and Glenn, I know he went out there, and I know he said something to someone because I was wondering.
Latrice, but I mean, he was there doing what he was doing. But Latrice had already had this thing because, even before that party, she's like Glenn, I don't have anything for Glendale. You know what I mean? You act like you have this extra beef for Glendale. When again, and it's not that it's Latrice's fault for whatever it is that Glendale is doing, which is why we are watching Laticia go through it with her husband.
Yeah.
Why she end up telling him she want to be celibate. And he like, what? You gonna be celibate with your husband? Which I said, well, that's another message for you, honey, because what she's saying is she is not feeling you like that, and that's why you're not getting her. You know what I'm saying?
Because he think he's a dick in the paycheck, honey.
And clearly you ain't enough because she said you can keep it.
Give me the paycheck, girl.
Go ahead.
No, but when you go in and look at the things that Glendale do, and then the way that Laticia is in her marriage, and I just thought, oh my God, is this the 1950s?
Well, funny you say that because, and didn't I just tell you that though? Like when we was talking about Eddie and Wendy, I was saying you really would be surprised at how many people function and run their house in such an arbitrary type of manner, right? Like that you wouldn't assume. You would just think right?
I'm like, because you didn't have your, first of all, you can have your own bank account.
Everybody got their own bank account, right?
Yeah, because we did that as elementary kids. We went banking at school. You had your own little bank accounts, but I thought you had to have your mama to let you get on her credit card.
Because she don't have any credit.
So that lets me know that mortgage is not in her name either.
Correct.
That's
crazy. Well, yeah. So, but I feel like the deal for me with her and Glendale, I feel like that explained a lot about where they are and what we're watching. You know what I'm saying? And so, right, she's kind of like, okay. And, I could have very easily ended up in a position very similar if I was with a guy who was on that type of, and when I say on that type of time, what I mean is if we had got married and did like once I got pregnant and stuff, I would have been very happy with him going to work. I would not have thought about trying to go work until my kids were all in school or something. Like that would have been the life that I would have participated in and even conduce for myself. You know what I mean? So I'm saying a lot of the stuff that I do, I'm doing because I happen to be a single mom. We didn't, and he wasn't that person who was gonna do that. You know what I mean? But if he had, we would have.
But it seems like, I think when she said she tried to leave him and she only had $4 to her name or something like that. So it seems like she didn't have access to the bank account. So if I'm sitting at home and you are the man and you're working, I need to have access to the bank account.
Well,
So both names need to be on there, and I'm because I'm going spending. I'm buying the groceries. I'm more than likely paying the bills. So it's no way in the world that I'm going to be
But
sitting.
that's what I think. I didn't necessarily. I think she has access to be able to spend money. But if you're talking about, I want, like, if I want to up and leave, I'm not going to do that with the money, with the account that we share.
That's
You know,
our money.
huh?
That's our money.
No, it is, but I'm saying too, like if I'm trying, like if I am plotting my exit, I'm not going to be paying for stuff in an account that you are able to go in and see what I'm spending and where I'm spending it at. That's kind of, so to me, I didn't take it what I took it for what she said. She didn't have any money of her own to go and get whatever it is that so it's kind of what I talk when I say being in somebody's pocket. So that's kind of, again, it explains a lot about how you end up dealing with so much, about how you end up whatever. Because like I tell people, when you in somebody's pocket, like generally that's where there's an upper hand there, especially if they're not of a character that wouldn't take advantage of that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I guess my issue with her, you're starting all these businesses, you're throwing these different events. So is everything being ran through Glenn's account? You don't have a business account or something?
Now that would be something separate, right? Because I would assume that but I guess if you're doing nonprofit, like I'm not sure if her brunches were nonprofit. You know what I mean? Like I didn't necessarily have those questions, I guess, until now. So that goes back to Latrice having the argument and throwing out the sentence, I need you to get a real business so you can see how businesses ran. I'm saying that to say, whatever she has, it's clear that somebody doesn't see it as a business, which might mean that it might not be generating income. But again, like I said, if it is something, maybe it could be that she started off as a nonprofit. I don't know. I don't have a lot of information about that, but those things work different. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not,
yeah, but you still have to have an account and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
know, but I'm excited for her to get on to what she needs to have, to be independent, to not somebody, feel like they can tell you whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes, and he's threatened by it.
And he is, as he should be, because like that, what we as women forget, that's a lot of the fight for women in general, like going back to, I don't know, have no woman even sat around and pressed the button for the person who's sitting in the office right now, because like I think it was Funky Dineva who did the story about the DEI, but just really pointing out, like
white women got that,
all women, even white. It's not like when
but they benefited the most. I'm saying
we are all women in general. We are all in the same boat. These MF and men look at us all the same. What now? The color part is a secondary factor. They all look at us like a commodity. You know what I mean, or cattle or whatever. So yeah, we all.
So what I was saying, that they benefited the most for the DEI, the white women. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
I don't know. I'm saying, because I think sometimes when we get off into the black women, the white women.
No, but it's been, that is as a study that was done.
I'm not saying that it's not, but what I am saying is I don't know that fact is that important. More so.
Oh, when you brought it up, DEI. That's why I said that.
I brought up DUI to speak about women, like outside of being black and outside of being white, all women, we are grouped together. Like you got black men and white men. Like those, they are grouped as separately. white women and black women, we are pretty much grouped the same. Now you might like your group of people might handle you different, like the other white people you around might handle you different, but as far as society go, you still just a raggedy ass woman. You know, like you just supposed to pump out babies and do, you know, the same as everybody else. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it in the sense of that DUI in the workplace benefited every woman who is working, whether you're black or white. Now, to your point, when you say it benefit white women more, well, it did because those were the ones who were getting married. We were already, our families was already, you know, being attacked where it wasn't prevalent to, you know, have the black family, you know what I mean? But as far as that go, you know, like, yeah, y'all benefited because y'all the ones that needed to get to work. You know what I mean? Because you the ones didn't have nothing. Most black women were single moms and had they shit. You know, had a bank
What
account.
time period are you talking about? I'm lost right now.
Hmm.
What do you? I guess are you talking about like here in recent years, or where are we talking about?
No, I'm saying in old time. Old time. So like in the same time when when the women start working. When women start working.
But most black women were married. They were not single moms.
Why would you? So what is it that it benefit white women the most? Why?
The DEI is something that's new. So DEI benefited white women more by contracts they were able to get. That's why. Because they were considered a minority within a minority. So when they had offered these different contracts or whatever, these white women would be the face of whatever company, and they were able to benefit before anybody else would, is what I'm saying, in the different sectors. So I think we're speaking in different terms when we're talking.
You talking about access to like
money,
actual business and those types of dealings, which you're right. But yeah, you're right. But that's why, because I was looking at DUI, and again, as a whole thing, you know, like not to section it off, because, and that's why I'm saying it was all women. I don't know why women, you know, don't know that we are all in the same pot. And so you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean in that sense. We all in the same pot. And so I think I said it, I don't know where, but Fawn Weaver is the CEO for Uncle Nearest. She going through a lot of issues, right? Mm-hmm. And remember I told you when I heard her speak, she was talking about her story and talking about just what you pretty much said, right? She had to name her husband as like the person, but she is like the front. Uh-huh. She had to put her husband to be the one in charge. So that's how. So to your point, like, because she's in a whiskey business, which is male, you know, dominated.
Yeah.
And so as I'm listening to her tell this story, I remember Bethany Frankel. Now, Bethany Frankel being a white woman. Now, here's the deal, like, to your point, Bethany Frankel made $43 million selling her company to Jim Beam. Mm-hmm. When I listened to Fawn Weaver, I said, oh, that's why she sold her company. Because the good thing about what Bethany did, she was on reality TV. She was on the Housewives. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the stuff that was happening while this was being built, it was all filmed on that show. And so I'm saying, if she got Skinny Girl Margarita, it went nuts. And this particular season, it was the season she was getting married. Or no, she was pregnant, I think. Either way, she couldn't keep up with the demands in the liquor store. That's what one of the things she had was talking back and forth with her husband, because she was asking him to quit his job to come over to help her, right? To help her keep up with this stuff that she had to do. So after that season, that's when we get the news that she had that $43 million deal and sold that brand off. But so to your point, it's kind of like she did get to sell hers, and Fawn is probably in the position that she's in right now because she won't sell. You know what I'm like? Because right, so that's
Like
why
they gonna take it.
they look at us the same fucking way because they did her the same way. She just went on and sold. But I understand the difference. I understand why Farm won't sell.
Yeah.
Like if that's what it is. So again, that's kind of my point that I was making is like, even though they may have benefited off of it more, but sometimes I don't even like looking at details like that because that don't change. You know what I mean? It don't even change it. What I'm saying is, don't you know all these men see us all the same? Like,
yes, we have the same struggle.
Yeah.
And like, as far as they want to regulate our bodies, our and whatever. But as soon as that thing ain't working, honey, they gonna get that little blue pill, honey.
Yeah, they will.
Yes. So yeah, in those things, but usually what happens though, those women, they usually follow whatever their husbands do.
That's right.
That's why we're in this situation that we're in. So whereas we as a whole did something different, they're going to go along with the male patriarchy, whatever. They're going to go with that. So, and then get out here and want to do a women's march. I'm like, fuck them hoes. I was so mad when he got in the first time. I was like, and they had the women out there with I had the little pink pussy hat too. And I said, half of them women probably voted for him anyways. And out here want to march. That's because we wouldn't have this issue. But yeah, so when I was looking at Laticia, I thought when she was doing her photo shoot or whatever that was, I said, look how nice she looks. And as soon as Glendale walked his ass in, it seems like he just sucked the life out of her. It seems like she kind of got a little scared. And then he comes in there. I don't agree with the one guy when he came up to Glenn, but if she's running a business, why do you need to be in the emails, first of all? But the other guy should not have said nothing.
That's right. Yeah. Let her handle her husband.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I think the thing was going wrong. And I feel like that Glenn only came in there acting that way with the other guy who was the investor because you're only talking about shit you might do. So if you must have gave some woman some money or invested, you want something else besides a portion of the business. You want her business. So you're only speaking of the things that you would potentially do. And then you're trying to put that on that man and your wife, and she's trying to make something else a go or whatever. So, but yeah, the whole thing of her wanting to be celibate, but then he left and then she kept calling him. I'm like, girl, be celibate and get off the phone. You ain't gonna hang up on me too many times. So that's just not, I'm not about to go, do that. And if I am, it still ain't gonna be on TV.
Right. Okay.
So she's conflicted, and I think she's trying to put up this big front because she's on TV, I think, and try to show, because I believe if she went on TV, Glendale be running all over. And I said, she didn't take lessons from her mama because her mama been married 6 times. I said, go ahead, lady. I'm like, go ahead. She got somebody to marry her 6 different times. And I liked the conversation that her mother had with her.
Yeah, I did like that too.
And I said, well, this is nice, and someone telling her, hey, you don't have to be like this. And I was just so outdone when her mom had helped her get a credit card. I said, what? And those things don't even, I guess, everybody lives a different life. That would have been nothing for me to even think to have to ask my mom to help me to do something like that, because I would have just done it innately. I would have been got my own bank account. I guess when I would have came into the marriage, I would have had a bank account. I had a bank account ever since I was a little kid. So And for Glenn to be that controlling over his wife, I'm surprised he let her do Belle Collective. Because where that money going? In his account?
Well, it's going somewhere.
I mean, I don't know. When I saw that, I said, this got to be 1950s. I mean, because I said, I would have never thought such a young lady would, I guess that just was never in my, I can't even.
Once she explained it, I felt like I understood. Being with somebody since high school, like being in a sheltered type of way, like one thing I feel like we forget is that you don't know until you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know until you do know. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there are again, that's what I'm going back, just using myself as an example. Yeah, I had a bank account, which my dad took me to go open up, but there was so many other like little nuanced things that I didn't know, and the only way that I found out is I learned a lot of my lessons through life, through going through stuff. Having a car repo, having my head gasket blow on one of the cars. I'm saying bouncing checks.
They didn't teach that in school. Learning how to, we used to learn how to do a checkbook in school.
Well, we learned how to balance our checkbook, but yeah, I still bounce checks, because I feel like even when we learned how to balance the checkbook at school, in high school, I don't believe we had debit cards in high school. Like at the time when I was in high school, I had a bank account at a credit union, so you had to go to the bank, and get your money out, or go to the bank and put your money in, every week or whatever. So again, it was when I started bouncing shit, it was kind of with the fucking debit cards when those came into play.
Because I remember back when they first started doing debit cards, they wouldn't even let you go over. You should be declined right there.
Well, what would happen? And this is funny because now I end up working at the bank and understood what happened. And then I subsequently had to explain it to other people. But it's I think it doesn't happen as often today because of course everything is upgraded to a certain extent. But what would happen is it would only let you approve if you had the money or pre-approved. But what will happen is it will hold for 3 days, and then that night before it posts, it would drop off. So when it dropped off, the balance changed and looked like the money is back in your account. But what's about to happen is the thing is about to post.
Yeah.
So yeah. So sometimes I would spend the money. So again, and I'm just saying, I'm saying too that I was 19 when I had my first oldest son. Now it was certain stuff that I knew how to do that their dad didn't. So I was the one that went and found an apartment and the administrative work. Funny enough, got the lights on and did all of that. But the expectation was that he would work. I was supposed to go to school, and work a part-time job. I got a job at the through financial aid or whatever at the college, But again, through the course of this, it ends up coming to me that I couldn't depend on him in that way. You know what I mean? So as I'm mentioning that, just even back in that time frame, because Laticia probably a couple years younger than me. That sounds so funny. Oh my God, I can't believe these people are they used to be older than me and now they're younger than me. Oh, but so that's what I'm thinking. Back in that day, had he shown up the way that I thought of the man in the house was supposed to, we very much easily could have been sharing a bank account. easily. You know what I mean? And for God knows how long. Like, because
I'm not saying that you can't share, because we had joint accounts, but I still had me a separate account.
But see, but to your point, like I still would have always had a separate account. But like you said, I started working while I was in high school. My dad took me to go and open me an account. If nobody had ever did that, then I never would have had an account until somebody told me or until I needed it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I can see, like I think I've done a good job of understanding that I don't expect me out of everybody.
Yeah, true.
You know, like, and what I mean, like, even the things that I know, like, I don't even expect everybody to really kind of know everything, or which that it's not to say that I know everything, but I tell everybody I don't know it all. I just know a lot. And like I said, I learned a lot in my 20s, like especially those first 4 years with my young baby. Like me and my dad was cracking up the other day or a couple weeks ago, whatever, because I was like, oh my God. Like even to think about a couple of the apartments that I lived in, like hellholes. I'm talking, I had an apartment that I moved in to live in, and I don't think I stayed there that long, maybe like a month or something like that. But girl, I didn't even want to be it. Like I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to touch none of the stuff around. Like it was just, oh, it was the worst.
Why you moved there?
Because I think I knew the person, like the person knew my mom. You know what I'm saying?
It was just, a relationship with them. Okay.
And but it was not up to my like standards at all. Like
okay, yeah.
Not up to my standards at all. And see, and then during this time, like not for nothing, my kid's dad, he was in his mother's basement. You know what I mean? And I'm out here in this little shitty ass apartment in this horrible neighborhood, you know, with my little baby. Right. And so, and that's never me. Like I've always been bougie, and so what? You know, so what? You know, so my kids, they done grew up and now they bougie. And okay. I give it to them. They all earned it very easily. The only one who not, he a so bougie, but that's that middle one, you know. He's so bougie. He don't want to admit it. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just saying. I feel like I understand how people end up in just situations that don't seem like they would be feasible. And again, thinking about her, this a guy you was with from high school, y'all. You know, like you just been together, and you don't know any better outside of that you trust in this guy that you done married. And for the most part, you should have been able to, you know. Now I'm thinking her mama, maybe I guess the mama didn't know that all of that was happening, which is probably how the mama end up saying, let me put you on this car. Because the deal is she didn't need her mother to put her on the car. But what that does for her is it helps her establish some sort of credit faster, because you know what I mean? Like that's what I did with my kids. I put them on my car when I could, you know, like just so they could get a little something.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit faster.
Yeah, don't do it, Michael. Now, don't be using my shit up like he did, Dr. Simone. But yeah,
right. Well, shit, they can't no way. Like,
I'm like tell my daughter.
But that's what. Now I gave Jordan my card when we went on our trip, so he could, you know, get his little stuff for the room and stuff. I'm like, here you go, like. But like you say, don't go crazy now.
I'm looking at it. You about to pay your share.
So yeah, but again, I thought that explained a lot about their relationship. I'm glad that she is, and you're right. It probably is this show. it probably is conversations that she's having now with her girlfriends, because again, a lot of people probably had no idea about that, because that's not something that you have regular conversation with people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, right, who would know that, you know what I mean, unless you volunteered that information. And you probably did not find anything wrong with it until you were ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
other people was like, what?
well, now shit. And he has a right to feel defensive about it. I think what I feel like is like with her saying she wanted to be celibate, I said they probably need to call Dr. Francis or get them a little some sort of counselor in, because that is interesting that you would have a conversation with your husband, who y'all still stay in the same house with, about being celibate. And then when you are having that conversation about celibate, I feel like she was being forthcoming, but not as forthcoming, because I'm like, I feel like you should go ahead and be a little bit more honest with him about it. Now, listen, I'm not one for telling nobody if they should or should not leave, they husband, especially the husband, a wife. I might tell you to leave somebody that you just dating or something. Yeah. I might go and be like, honey, get the fuck on, right? But like when it comes to marriages, I don't know. You
okay. But my question is then, all of this is because of what Latrice's friend said. This is what sent them down.
So that's what I'm kind of getting to, is that's what I mean about, I wish she would be more forthcoming with him, to be honest and say that the issues that I think, and because I've been through it, something similar anyway, she doesn't trust her husband.
Okay, yeah.
And it's kind of like hard stop. She wants to trust her husband, right? This is why she's still, like in the mix and in the thick of it. So that's what I said. She gave him a half truth, because what she was saying, like she said, well, I need to clear my mind. I don't want my mind all cloudy and stuff. What they call it, she ain't want to be dickmatized. And I don't blame her, because when you're trying to make important decisions, you can't make them be enigmatized. Okay?
Yeah. So then the thing is, and well, how long are you planning on doing this?
So that's why I'm saying, like, you gotta have a more in-depth conversation, because in my opinion, to practice celibacy with your husband, that sounds pretty close to being separated.
Yes, it does.
And so, then I'm kind of thinking with her, like, are you doing, is these like little tests for Glenn? Like, are you trying to see like how much is he gonna stick around for, and then you're gonna give in for him? Or is it what it really is? Because if you really want to be celibate, then what that means is like you're not getting hot for your husband. Now, what I'm gonna say, like, now I was younger and it was different. But let me tell you, and we was toxic, okay? So I'm saying that to say it wasn't a whole lot that messed up how we was. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Now, as an older woman, I get it. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah.
I get it, because now, it ain't like that.
I was like, oh, okay.
But yeah, I think and I think we don't talk enough about that too. Like, well, maybe it's just what it is, because I don't know, but because I said that, like, I realized that about myself. Like, when my trust is broken, there is not a lot that a person, I realize that now. Now, it doesn't mean that I won't forgive you. But forgiving you doesn't necessarily, what I've learned is that I don't retrust again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so And so, yeah, that's that. So to your point, when you said, is this what it's all about? I think yes, right? But I do think it's a culmination, because when it comes to Laticia, I think she's just tired of this even being a narrative.
Yes.
For you to, like, for anybody to be able, whether they lying, making it up, you know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever. The fact that they can, and this is a thorn in my side, and as him as the husband, like, because you move the way you do, you already exposed me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
in like, because that, like, when I tell people, getting back to the respectful cheating, like, that's what I'm saying. I ain't telling nobody that to respectfully cheat, like, that's how you do it. But what I am saying is, if you are gonna do it, that's the least you can fucking do. Don't have nobody walking around these streets feeling like they on, you know, like they on my level. No, they better be ducking, hiding, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they better hope don't nobody see them, right? You should have them that far up in their feelings about what the fuck they running around doing, because it ain't, you know, because this ain't that.
And so Latrice's friend, what's her name again?
What's that like? Angel was what came, but that's not it.
Amy.
It was something like that.
Well, anyways, in this, okay, I guess definitely Latrice tried to twist it, turn the thing back around onto Laticia.
Now she mad. Now you got a grievance talking about Laticia and called your ex-employee.
Yeah.
But you only got a story for one. Go ahead.
So, and the girl is still on the show. She's still a friend of.
Didn't I just tell you Latrice is the one that brought Selena in that party for You So Gucci? Yeah. See, like
okay, so yeah, because I feel like, I know we're doing the show,
and Marie is probably sitting back trying to tell Laticia, didn't I tell you about, you know what I'm saying? Because and it's funny again that Latrice is saying that Laticia called her ex-employees, because that was part of the beef between Latrice and Marie. It had something to do with her finding out Latrice, like, had somebody saying some disparaging stuff about her businesses or something.
So it seems like, if we're all on this show and we're a group of women and we're supposed to be in this friend group, I think it's still like certain lines that we should not cross as a friend group to be in. It should not be that if it was to get out somewhere else, but if we're in a friend group, I'm not gonna have one of my friends come on the show. I don't care if he was in her DMs. We ain't discussing this shit on the show. We just not.
Well, if we are, the way that I will discuss it is going to be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, right up front, soon as it, you know what I mean, happen. Like, I wouldn't know. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, to me, it should have been, we can talk about a lot of things, but it'd be different. I just don't feel like I would invite my friend to be on the show to disparage or make my other so-called friend feel a way about her marriage. It's enough people in the world that can do that. So that's where I kind of fault Latrice, because it's your friend. Y'all always mic'd up. You knew what the girl was gonna say. And,
but so what she is leaning on is, I didn't know. And see, because like I tell people, let's go ahead and go with it. Fine. Let's give it to her. Maybe she didn't know. Because that doesn't change that you owe that lady an apology. Like, whether you knew or not, it would make it worse if you did know. So for you to say it out your mouth that you don't know, I'd rather go with that. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather think that you didn't. But at the end of the day, it happened. And all of these factors surround you as an empathetic person. And like you said, and this is your friend, seems like you would just offer the apology to her. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, whether you supposed to, or like that's the deal. Sometimes I wish people just did the right fucking thing, because nobody should have to convince you of that. But people show they hands in funny little ways.
Yeah.
And saying, like, maybe Laticia, I don't know, maybe her business is not bringing in whatever, but clearly you up in arms about something, because like I said, that little comment she made out like, well, I need you to get a business, a real business, so you can see how a business is ran. See, like little stuff like that, you can't come back from like when you talk about we friends, because that's something nasty to say about somebody. How long you been holding on to that? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I thought, and when I heard her say it, I thought, how long?
Girl, honey, the way she was throwing away, right? The way she was throwing around, the word bitch, honey. I was like, they ain't friends. Because she said it with a lot of animosity, a lot of anger. I'm like, ooh.
But here's the other thing. So that's what I'm saying. Break it down. What really do you have to be that angry with her about, for real?
Yeah.
What we know is absolutely fucking nothing. And at the same time, she taking her anger out on the person she should be, which is her husband. She brought that shit back to you.
Yep.
And you sitting up, like, you making it this big deal, like now you have this problem with her. And I'm like, why ain't nobody saying nothing to take it back to, like, girl, like, are you okay? Because you started all this shit with this pool party, right? Yep. Like, I wouldn't even be at odds with my husband right now if that shit didn't happen. That's right. But yeah, and so that's what I said. Like, Latrice, what I realize is, like you said, she is immature. You are too young for this cast, and I couldn't be around it. Like, the whole thing with Josh. The Glendale said it when she said, well, Josh said that you contacted him. Now you got these text messages or these messages that don't show none of that, but she's still hell bent on believing this guy. Oh, the guy you fell out with, right? The guy you fired. And now the guy, because that's another thing that I tell people, like, don't come telling me about what somebody did, and what you sat around to listen to. You know what I mean? Like, while everybody was mad, and now you want to come and give me information, like, to give me. Don't even worry about it. I don't even.
The first thing I want to know is, what did you say?
I ain't even got to know what, because I would figure if you said anything, it's already coming.
Yeah.
So, but that's another manipulation. Like, you only pulling that out because, again, now you want to get other people in on this focus. But I don't believe it. First of all, I don't believe that she did. And like I said, clearly she's doing something right. You are up in your feelings and got it out for Laticia for some reason, and it ain't got nothing to do with her calling your ex-employees.
So that's the real problem that we need to solve. What is it? What business? I mean, because I'm like, what, the way she was just, because I'm like, are they gonna come to blows for real?
It did look like it, but but she young and immature. That's it. Young and immature, because this is all your fault. And then, like you said, you still got that girl around. Now she's coming over to your house. Like, you being petty as hell because you're doing that shit on purpose. That's why I said that's the girl who brought Selena, and when Selena and So Gucci end up fighting, and then that's how So Gucci and Latrice kind of didn't have a good relationship. Which then
they actually fought for real.
I mean, it got as I can't remember if anybody actually made contact, but it was pretty bad.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It was pretty bad. And so, like I said, the girl.
And what are they arguing about?
Huh?
And what were they arguing about?
At the time, I feel like Selena felt like So Gucci walked in and ignored her. It was like Selena was trying to make this big deal about her acknowledging her. Um, and yeah, it was stupid like that.
Well, I guess. So
Hmm.
Selena was acting like Tisha.
Yeah. Yeah, that, so going back to, like I said, that's how I got introduced to her. And so I'm like, I mean, you cool or whatever, but like I just remember that you not this girl, like this, like now you with the shits because you just came to, pulling her card for nothing. And I don't know, so Gucci, I think so, being on a reality show or whatever, I think so Gucci was just kind of trying to go in like and not give her any real type of I'm gonna say scene, you know what I mean? And Selena just seemed like she was hell bent to get it. And so that's how, so like saying the girls stopped talking to them. And it just was a mess, with them after that. And of course they blaming So Gucci, but it all went back to Latrice though, because Latrice knew about the issue and she knew that So Gucci was there, you know what I mean?
Oh.
She's a shit starter. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's interesting. So I am going to go back and rewatch so I can understand the whole thing, because I remember there was another lady that used to be on there, a little petite lady. Was she some kind of doctor or dentist or whatever?
Oh yeah, Antoinette.
Her, yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, watching all these episodes real quick earlier today, I said, "But this was way better than Potomac." I would say it was better than Sweet 16, Atlanta Housewives too so far.
Well, yeah, we'll see what they give in this season. It
Yeah,
looks like they
yeah.
give us a little bit more, but we'll have to see, honey.
So, but yeah, they working down there, and hopefully, at Selena's wedding, Marie can find a man.
Right, we gonna hope so. We
But
gonna hope so.
her new office building looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought that it's too bad that the what is Kerri's business in Mobile, Alabama. It looks beautiful in there. I mean, it looks really nice that it's not being received well in that community.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my goodness!" I said, "Oh, it looks so nice."
Yeah, that's
yeah, it really does.
Why. I wonder. I don't know. I wonder why.
Yeah, maybe they just don't eat out like that down there. And that Mobile is real small, I thought.
Well, it's funny because I was gonna say I wonder if the decor is too far, from what the community is. I don't know though. I've never been to Mobile.
They probably think it's a white establishment.
That's my point. Like, is it too, went too far? You know what I'm saying? Like, where you alienated, your own constituents or whatever, or your own people to come in where they don't feel comfortable, right?
I mean, because she's not getting out there to let the community know that this is a black-owned place. Because them places down there is black, 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 black.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody be black down there. I mean,
you say everybody.
Sheriff, everybody. It'd be just as black. I wish some black people vote. We wouldn't be having all these little red states down there because there's more of them than anything. But yeah, I thought, oh, it really looks nice in there, and it's a shame. As hopefully they'll be able to sell it. But
yeah, I hope so too.
But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. I would definitely rate what I watched at least a 7. I thought, oh, it's doing a lot better than some of these other shows I didn't watch. And I didn't scroll on my phone that one time.
Good. Well, you had a lot to catch up on anyway.
Yeah, but usually I start Because even this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, girl, I checked out on the counseling of
Girl, I don't even blame you. I'll check out too, like, cause I'm so sick of her bipolar ass, honey.
And who's
yeah,
lying?
listen, we gonna go ahead and we gonna get ready to end this one because we done got caught up to date with our Belle Collective. Yay! We will see y'all back again on Tuesday for Married to Medicine season finale, right? Because that comes on tonight. And don't forget to go over to the community tab. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, go over to the community tab and make sure you are putting your vote in for the Married to Medicine Housewife Awards. Okay. Yes. So we're gonna end this here and we're gonna see y'all back on Tuesday. Okay.
Bye-bye.